It's so important that you take control of your health yourself. You know your body better than anyone.
Hello, and welcome to the Connect podcast. This show is all about helping you connect to your soul's calling so you can take action on it. Because the sweetest success is a blend of discovering your purpose with the inner drive to bring it to life. I'm Sheila, health coach, lifestyle entrepreneur, and mom of two, best known for my online wellness programs, mentoring, and self-love passion. Listen in for inspiring interviews, solo chats, and Q&A sessions that will move you past overwhelm towards what lights you up. Stop accepting good enough and go for your version of great in your health, business, and relationships. Let's get started.
Hello, welcome to this week's live Q&A. Today, I am here to talk all about how to check your health markers. And this may seem like something that you've never really thought about, because if you go for an annual physical, well, that's your doctor's job, right? However, it's very easy to bypass these things and to bypass the understanding of really what's going on in our body and all of the elements involved in the process of checking how you're doing with your health. Once we start taking ownership of how we're doing and all of the things that are happening within our body and in our mind, all of the whole thing, everything changes. We get more invested in making choices that are going to elevate our health, elevate our mindset, elevate our relationships. It's all impacting how we are showing up in the world. And this week on the blog that was released yesterday and that I will also link here, I was talking about an experience that I had in checking my health markers that got a little derailed because of the year 2020, and trying to get out and get all of the appointments and things was a little more challenging this past year. I'm sure you can agree with that. And so I share a story there about some of the things that I experienced. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I am a health coach, and I really focus on cyclical self-care, regenerative self-care, mind-body connection, mindfulness, and health, and the way we treat ourselves and talk to ourselves. The whole thing is called integrative health, right? It's not just about what we're eating. It's not just about how we're moving. It's not just about what is going on physically for us at the stage of life that we're in. It is about what we're thinking, what we're saying to ourselves, who we're involving ourselves with, the work we're doing in the world, our relationships, the whole nine yards. It is a package. It is integrative. That's who you are as a human. So today, in talking about your health markers, I really felt it was important to address. In my specific story over the last month, I blogged about it because I realized it's something that happened to me that would have been so easy to miss, that could have turned into something much more involved, potentially harmful to my health. And if you haven't read my story over on my website, sheilabatello.com, you will not know that really what started me in the whole blogosphere and to actually start blogging and sharing and teaching on self-care and guiding women into how to better listen to their bodies so they can make good choices for their future and long-term health. It all began when my sister got ill with cancer. She was diagnosed back in the start of 2013. And she had been experiencing pain for a while and was unable to uncover what it may have been. She was 43 at the time, or actually 42, I guess, when she was starting to experience these challenges. And all of that to say, finally, within a period of time, she was diagnosed. And from the time of being diagnosed with sarcoma cancer, she passed away 6 weeks later. And that's a very dramatic story. And it shook me. It shook our whole family, her husband, her kids. And at that point, as she was going through that process, it really struck me that it's so easy for us to be living our lives and just imagining that because of our age, because everything may look good on the outside, we think we're healthy, we think everything's great. But that may not always be the case. Certainly we can look at our energy levels, our how we feel. That is a great indication. However, there is a way for us to look more deeply and to stay on top of how we're feeling so that we don't have to wait for big alarm bells to go off down the road and have health outcomes that we're just blown away by. And one of those things that I feel is so, so important is to every single year get your blood tested. And many people, many women like myself may only need to go for an annual physical or a biannual physical, go every other year because they don't do certain things anymore, cervical tests until it's every 3 years. So it's very easy to put off actually going to see your doctor for a few years because you think, well, they only have that one test, that HPV test or whatever it is. And so that's all I need to do, but there's so much more that can happen. And as you've seen over this past year, your health can take a turn in a short period of time. And some of the things that impact that is, yes, it's your foods that you're eating, the lifestyle you're living, and stress. And these things change. The stressors in our lives change in a very quick way sometimes. They can change on a dime. So when you go to have if you have an annual physical every single year, and then you get your blood tested for a whole battery of items, your vitamin D levels, obviously your cholesterol, get your blood pressure checked as well. You get all of the various markers in your blood tested. Your blood has a story to tell. And if you're willing to slow down and just make that one appointment a year, you can reap great rewards in knowing how you're really doing because our blood flows through us. It has so much to tell us about our overall health. And I learned that this year more than any other. I typically go for an annual blood test. So every single year I go, and I had last gone middle of December 2018. And things got busy, and I thought, I'll just push my appointment into January, see if I can get in. And of course, so January I went, I didn't actually book the appointment. See, that's the trick. I ended up calling for an appointment middle of January, and I didn't actually get one until March. And what happened in March of 2020? So with things closing down, the availability to be able to go in, that was off the table. And I figured, I don't really want to be in clinics if people are walking around ill. I'd like to kind of stay away. But I was feeling great. It was no problem. At least so I thought. I was feeling pretty good. And I really value my health and my self-care practice. So it's something that I don't overlook. It's not something that is just autopilot. I do check in with myself and see how I'm feeling. However, I am also in late stage perimenopause. And with that in mind, you have to remember there's a lot of changes going on. So a lot of new things that even when speaking with my doctor in the years leading up to now, so even in 2018, he said, yes, you're going to be seeing some changes and it's okay. It's all part of it. You're in good health. You have nothing to worry about. But add on top of everything in 2020, the stressors, the emotional stress, the loss. I lost my father at the end of February, and the end of 2020, I lost my uncle, my dear uncle, who actually, if I think correctly, in a few days, he would have been 90 years old, and he was just a beautiful soul. And fortunately, I was able to spend time with him last year. But nonetheless, dealing with all of these grieving times, and then the grief of not being able to go and travel and do the things that we'd planned, and taking on the grief of my kids from having their freedom taken away, March break taken away, all of these different things, right? Like it may seem on the surface like, well, that's not really that big a deal because you're all healthy, like you didn't get sick, which I'm super grateful for. However, these are things that we take on. We take on what's going on around us and the pain of other people in my midst who were dealing with a lot of loss as well. And so that impacts our health. It just does. So I was starting to feel a little bit more lethargic at times in the morning. And I thought, okay, well, it's 2020. I think a lot of people are feeling that way. And well, I'm perimenopausal and this and that. And then of course summer came around and I started to feel better because everybody feels a little better when you can get out into the fresh air, into nature. I was able to go to some lakes in Ontario here and enjoy the sandy beaches. And just even if for a day or two, like it was just so nice and restorative and regenerative. And so fast forward to the end of this year, end of 2020. And I said, okay, I really need to get into my doctor. But we were shut down from Christmas all the way into the new year. I don't even remember the dates of all the things at this point. So as soon as things opened up, I made a call to have an appointment with my doctor. Unfortunately, was able to get a phone consultation with him very soon after, like a few weeks after, which was beautiful. So we had a chat. He said, you sound like everything's going great. Let's do your blood workup. And so a week or two later, I went and had my blood workup. That was a wonderful experience. The ladies there were so helpful and kind, and our health professionals have been working so hard for us this year. They've had an extra burden, and I'm so grateful for them. And once I got my test results back, I had another follow-up appointment over the phone with my doctor. And that is when he said, everything looks amazing except your ferritin levels. And I'm thinking, okay, I've heard of this. And, I'm a health coach. I'm very broad in my understanding of health, nutrition, all of that. And I geek out at times going down the rabbit hole, researching different things, different parts of the body, different functions of the body and what they need, et cetera. And I love that kind of stuff, right? I have lots of references that I use and beautiful professionals that mentor me as well. And I didn't know what ferritin was off the top of my head. And so as we got talking, he said, that is your blood storage level. It was at the lowest point, my blood storage level. And my hemoglobin was great. My B12 was great, which these are all things that feed into your healthy blood. And just so you know, I'm not going to go into detail about all of blood chemistry and what it is, because, you're probably driving or walking or doing something, listening to this right now. And so you don't have time to take notes, right? So you can check that out by going to my blog at sheilabatello.com/blog. It is the latest one. I'll actually put the exact link in right below here. And if you're listening to the podcast, it will be in the show notes as well. And it's entitled, What You Need to Know About Iron Levels. So your ferritin is basically the storage system of iron in your body. And so I realized, oh boy, okay, so would that explain some of the things that had been going on with me? And he agreed, yes, they would. I was experiencing regular hair loss over the last 18 months, particularly. I was starting to get menstrual headaches, which last month was a menstrual migraine, a really nauseous one, which I never feel nauseous, not even through my pregnancies. I'm sorry, ladies, if you've had that experience, but that I just never did. I just am never one ever to feel nauseated. And I did, and it was major. And so, hi, wise girls, or his wise girls. Hello. Thank you for coming. We're talking all about how to check your health markers. And particularly as women at various stages of our life and our health, it's so, so important. So what ended up happening once I found out that my ferritin levels were low, my doctor immediately says we need to get you on a really good iron supplement so that we can increase those storage of ferritin in your blood. And you're going to notice you're not going to feel as tired. Your hair will not be falling out as much. I also was having brittle nails. I will not hopefully be getting any more menstrual migraines. Again, never had those ever before either. And so I thought, well, those are just a few minor symptoms of perimenopause. No big deal. It could be worse. I've heard of many people going through a lot worse time. And I've been doing all of the supplements and foods and exercise practices and sleep practices to support myself through this time. And I teach a lot about that also over at sheilabatello.com and here on this Instagram feed and on my podcast. And I just feel like we need to talk about it more because so many people have no idea. Their parents, their mom maybe had never told them about their experience. And so as a result of that, they're like, I don't know what's going on. And of course, it's not cookie cutter. Everybody's experience is a little bit different. So that's why I'm here talking about it today. I want you to really take control of your health by getting your blood tested, by checking in with your doctor on a regular basis, but really checking in with yourself, not just waiting for things to happen and waiting for someone to tell you what to do. It's so important that you take control of your health yourself. You know your body better than anyone. See, with myself, again, I thought I was fine. This sounds like textbook perimenopause. And yet I still said, I'm going to get another opinion. And if I wasn't happy with my doctor's opinion, I would have gone somewhere else and gotten another opinion. But I'm grateful that he spends the time with me. And again, I go into more detail about this in the blog that's linked below. The other thing I talk about in there is all about vitamin D and how that impacts your blood levels and your iron levels. It's very interesting. And it's research, more and more research is coming out about vitamin D and the importance of using it. However, is it being absorbed? I go into that in the blog, so you can check that out. Truly, soul-driven wellness is all about looking within. And if you're interested in ways to elevate your self-care, to elevate that connection with yourself so you can make really good choices in protecting your health and in not just feeling okay, but creating a thriving, vibrant, healthy life for yourself, I really invite you to subscribe to my blog. I'll put the link below for that, sheilabatello.com. And I make sure that every week you get an email with what's new, what's happening at the particular week. I have a theme going around health and self-care. And I love to invite people into the conversation as well, not only for health and self-care, but also for chasing your purpose, chasing your passion, getting in touch with what your soul is wanting to do next. That's so important to me. And that's very much the focus of the podcast, Connect with Sheila Batello. And I have episodes that come out every Monday and Wednesday. Mondays are a very short motivational episode, and Wednesdays are either an interview or one of these live Q&A sessions that I record. And to subscribe to that, go to iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts and make sure that you hit subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. They come out every Monday and Wednesday. And this conversation is one I'm so excited about because it's evolving over time as I'm going through various stages of my health journey. And then I'm inviting other people into the conversation who may be at the same or different areas and stages of their health journey. As women, and as I talk about cyclical self-care, every week of our cycle is different. Every decade of our cycle is different. And it can be beautiful. It doesn't need to be a struggle, right? And we can talk about it and we can support each other through it. So I invite you to listen, to subscribe, and most of all, tune in with yourself. How are you really feeling? Are there things that you've been putting off? When was the last time you had a blood test? I'm talking about iron levels today. That was my issue. But what about you? Could you have a thyroid that may be off a little bit? What about adrenal fatigue? Could you be suffering from that? Could chronic stress be putting a hamper on your adrenal glands? What about your cholesterol? Is it doing well? What about your blood glucose levels? All of these things shift along with our cycles. We may think I'm eating all the right things, I'm doing all the right activity, but our body is hormonally shifting. And what gets impacted is all of those markers in your health. So the beautiful thing about your blood is it will tell you what you need to do next. And I'm here to walk along your journey with you. And I wish you all the best in your life, in your health. And if you celebrate Easter this weekend, I hope you have a beautifully blessed Easter season. And I look forward to connecting with you and hearing from you. If you have comments, questions, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. You can also DM me at Sheila A. Batello, or you can send me an email to info@sheilabatello.com. Obviously, I can't diagnose or treat any kind of illnesses. I recommend that you talk to your doctor about your specific health picture, but I'm here for helpful resources to help to support whatever it is your doctor's suggesting that you do, and also to support the intuition and what you need to be doing for yourself. You have your health in your hands, and it's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for being here. Have an amazing rest of your day. What stood out to you as you listened today? If you found it helpful, please share this episode and tag me at Sheila A. Botello on Instagram. It may be just the message someone needs to hear today. As always, these Q&A sessions are for educational purposes only and are not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any health issues you may have, and I highly recommend that you consult with your doctor before beginning any new health protocol. I'll see you next time. Big blessings.
Thank you so much for being here with me on the Connect podcast. If you like this episode, please share it with someone you think would enjoy it. Also, if you head over to iTunes to leave a review, I'd be so grateful. Let us know what your favorite parts were and what you'd like to hear more of. It will help us have a greater impact, elevating many more people to grow and succeed together. See you next time.